right, it's 6:32, let's get started.
There you go.
We're going to open up the continued open public meeting for site plan application for 21 Jungle Road, map 301, parcel 1, considered as manufacturing.
And Dean, I just want to make sure we can hear you.
Yes,
I just wanted to note that we received a request from the applicant, from Chris Anderson, the engineer, on behalf of the applicant, to continue this proposal. They plan to provide the escrow funds for the traffic study tomorrow, they said. And they would kindly ask for a continuance.
So for February 5th,
Yes.
okay, I move we continue this hearing until February 5th. At what time? 6:30? Do we have
The
some?
first one on?
I'm looking at it now. It's February fifth?
Yes.
Yep.
Do we have something else there?
We don't have anything.
So 6:30.
6:30.
Yep.
6:30.
Okay. Motion made by Paul, have a second?
Second, I thought there was, but.
Okay, sorry about that. Motion made, seconded to continue 21 Jungle Road to February 5th at 6:30. Roll call vote, please.
Patrick Perla,
Yes.
Paul Weiser,
Yes.
Sal Chaconi,
Yes.
John Souza, excused. Tom Kerrigan, excused. Dean Valier,
yes.
Jason Parre,
Yes.
Robert Torioso.
Yes. Okay, 6:34. Let's do a quick call to order in the regular meeting, make sure everyone's here.
Patrick Perla,
Here.
Paul Weiser,
Here.
Sal Chaconi,
Yeah.
John Souza, excused. Tom Kerrigan, excused. Dean Valier,
Dean Valier, present.
Jason Parre.
Here.
Robert Torioso.
Here. Can we do
Minutes.
the minutes of 2.0 minutes of November 6, 2023?
Yeah.
I move to approve the minutes of November 6, 2023.
Second.
Motion made second to approve November 6, 2023 minutes. Roll call vote, please.
Patrick Perla,
Yes.
Paul Weiser,
Yes.
Sal Chaconi,
Yes.
John Souza, excused. Tom Kerrigan, excused. Dean Valier,
Dean Valier, yes.
Jason Parre.
Do I need to abstain? I wasn't here.
Yeah, that'd be
Yes.
better if you did.
Abstain?
Carol Vittorioso.
Was I here? November 6?
Were.
Says you were.
Okay, yes. I know it's 6:35, but let's do the minutes for November 2020.
Approve the November 20th, 2023 minutes.
I thought we did those, it was the 6th.
We did the 6th.
Oh, see, there's
Did you
a
vote on the
mistake
wrong
on the
ones?
6th.
What, buddy?
There was a mistake on the 6th?
Yeah, it's got me listed as Ms. Chacon.
All right, well, that's not
Mr.
much of a
Chacon.
mistake.
Close enough.
So I'm taking my vote down right now.
We can all make sure.
I have a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made second to approve the minutes from November 20th, 2023.
And Carol, you were absent on that one.
See, it
Thank
says
you.
Ms.
So-
Yeah,
Yes, I know that.
make,
Paul Weiser,
Yes.
Sal Chaconi,
well, there's another mistake on this one, it has me listed as Ms. Chaconi, on the adjournment,
Cutting and paste.
so can't blame me.
Okay, we'll make that correction. With that correction,
There you go.
roll call vote.
Yes, it was on me, right?
Ron Sal, yes.
Yes.
John Souza, excused. Tom Kerrigan, excused. Dean Valier,
Dean Valier, yes.
Jason Parre.
Yes.
Carol Vittorioso.
I abstain. Okay, let's go back to the 6:35 public hearing. City Council petition 22-24 to delete section 24.3.1 in its entirety and replace it with the following. Residential uses in the Business B district are permitted with a special permit from the planning board.
And then we do have a letter from the public here, when you're ready for that. I don't know if you would have the board go first and then read the letter.
Does the board have any input on the petition?
John and I discussed this prior to the meeting, and John wanted to make sure we pointed out that apartments are already allowed in the BB district
Yeah.
by special permit and site plan. they're already permitted.
So this isn't
What is the
necessary.
point of this?
So we have a representative here for this, so I'm sure, and there's a letter
Okay.
that goes with it, so that might shed some light.
Madam Chair, board members, for the record, Tom Pavenzi for one of the sponsors, Gateway Business Center LLC, and I have with me tonight representatives from that company, Steve Boucher and John Toomey. So what we're looking for was the board's recommendation and report to the city council to recommend favorably on the adoption of this amendment. Currently, in the table of uses, as Elizabeth pointed out, there's a listing of uses that are allowed in this district, business B, and those would include residential uses with upon issuance of a special permit and site plan approval from the planning board. So that's in the actual table of uses. In another section of the zoning, the narrative section, under allowed uses, and I think I have a letter to the members here tonight that I've submitted, it states basically that residential uses are allowed except for on the ground floor. So there seems to be a little inconsistency between the table of uses, which allows the residential uses in any location, no restriction on location, and the actual narrative language in the body of the ordinance we cite in my letter, which restricts it on the ground or street level. So what we're looking to do is just to harmonize those two sections and change the zoning so that it would be allowed at any location, any floor, but it would still require a special permit. So come in front of this board, and it would have all the usual and typical special permit considerations, conditions and whatnot, and it would also still require site plan approval. In my letter, I did point out that the sponsor owner of this property, it's in the Business B district now. We're not changing any boundary lines, we're requesting any changes. So this would apply citywide if there was to be made a change, and it would then become, if someone was to propose a residential use, which is now allowed in the Business B district, it would still have to come in front of this board and have all the special permit considerations. So that would be the change that would happen on that. Again, it may have been just in the piecing together of the zoning ordinance over a number of years. This inconsistency may have not been intended, but this would clarify it. Gateway Business Centers, if you're familiar with that site, there's currently a large 4-story brick building in the front that houses a health facility, offices, and a restaurant. Those would all stay the same. That building would stay the same. There are other commercial uses behind that, and the owner of the property would like to make a proposal that those would be kind of converted or reconfigured to residential uses. So we think it's a rather straightforward request, and the one change, it's only one sentence existing, that would just be eliminated in its entirety and would be replaced with, you'll be allowed with a special permit, just to be consistent.
So that one line, section 22.17 total, right? Residential uses in the BB district are not permitted on the ground or street level, but are permitted on upper levels. That's the only thing that you're requesting a change.
Correct.
Because everything else is, and we're adding in the BB district with a special permit. Should we add that?
What is the,
Delete that.
Not permitted and.
what is the letter? You said get a letter.
That this
Oh,
is,
yeah.
I think,
Dated
this-
January 5th, it's in front of you.
That's, so it makes a lot of sense, especially for the back lots. Right?
Mhm.
It's still gonna be a special permit, we still have control over the whole process. And I would be in favor of that.
Does the board have any other questions? And Attorney Bubenzi, from your presentation tonight, would that summarize your letter dated January 5th?
Yes, it
The
does.
two-page letter? So I would enter this into the record without having to formally read it because Attorney Bubenzi summarized it. Do the members have any objection to that?
Well,
I'll open, the only members here, just for the people watching from home, there's no one else in the building other than the operator of the camera. But other than that, Attorney Bavenzi, do you have any other information to provide?
No.
Board members, do you have anything else?
Dean Valier,
Yes, Attorney Valier, what do you have?
Elizabeth, I think this is one of the recommendations we're gonna make from our housing committee.
Yes, the housing committee looked at this and said that it was already allowed at the street level, or not at the street level, it was already allowed as
That's the first
apartments.
level, Yeah.
So they didn't see the point. But this gives more information than the housing committee had. And the housing committee meets on Thursday, so they could change their, potentially change their recommendation if we give them this letter from Mr. Bavenzi.
It's pretty straightforward.
Good.
Straightforward. Yeah, that's simple.
So I would move that we make a positive
I
recommendation.
think we have to close the meeting first. Close the hearing,
Public hearing.
it's a public hearing.
I move to close the hearing.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to close the public hearing regarding section 24.3.1
And
of.
just a housekeeping matter, just for the sake of staff doing the minutes, can we get a copy of this letter in Word?
Yes,
So that we can cut and
Yes.
paste it, that way we don't have to retype the whole
we can
thing,
do that.
and we possibly make an error, we don't want to do that.
We'll do that.
Great. Thank you, Attorney Bavenzi. Okay, roll call vote. All those in favor?
Patrick Perla,
Yes.
Paul Weiser,
Yes.
Sal Chaconi,
Yes.
John Souza, excused, Tom Kergnen, excused, Dean Valier,
Dean Valier, yes.
Jason Parre,
Yes.
Carol Vittorioso.
Yes. Okay, motion, the hearing's closed. 3.0 plan submitted, there are none. 4.0 old business, 4.1 site plan application for 21 Jungle Road, map 301, parcel 1 for manufacturing, that's been continued to February 5th at 6:30. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Good luck. That's been continued February 5th at 6:30. 5.0 new business, 5.1 city council petition 22-24, delete section 24.3.1 in its entirety and replace it with the following. Residential uses in the business B district are permitted with a special permit from the planning board. We need to make a recommendation to the city council.
Move we make a positive recommendation to the city council.
Second.
Motion made by Paul, second by Patrick. All those in favor, roll call vote, please.
Patrick Perla,
Yes.
Paul Weiser,
Yes.
Sal Chaconi,
Yes.
John Souza, excused, Tom Kergnen, excused, Dean Valier,
Dean Valier, yes.
Jason Parre,
Yes.
Carol Vittorioso.
Yes. Okay, and the motion to recommend approval passes. 6.0 executive session, which is in an odd place, but that's okay. 7.0 communication. 7.1 city council petition 25-24 to amend the Leominster City ordinance by inserting a new section regarding short-term rental units. We are to make a recommendation to the city council. No public hearing or open public meeting are required per the city solicitor, and to read an email inquiring of that from our planning director, Elizabeth Wood, dated December 18th. The response came from our city solicitor, KP Law, Amy Wessel in particular, dated December 20th. Elizabeth, if this petition is to amend the city's general ordinance and not the zoning ordinance, then in my opinion, Chapter 48, Section 5 does not apply, and the planning board does not need to hold a public hearing and supply a recommendation. And this does have to do with the city's general ordinance regarding short-term rental units.
So this is just a referral to city council as a friendly. Right.
Anybody know what's behind this?
There was someone at the.
This came from Peter Angelini.
Airbnb, I think.
That's what
scenario,
I'm thinking.
and it was a bit convoluted, and I was trying to read.
Is there a problem we're trying to solve?
Do we have an
We
issue?
don't have any information other than this petition.
Well, I'd really like to get some information, you know.
Yeah.
We're trying to
It's
hard
A lot of stuff
I mean,
here.
there's like 10 pages
Yeah,
of material here. I'm not exactly sure.
I was making the assumption, and I know we probably shouldn't do that, about the lack of,
Apartments.
the lack of like the lack of housing in Leominster right now.
Could be,
So,
but I'd still like to know how many
The more I
rentals
read
are
it, the
there,
more I
where are they?
thought that it might be like, yeah.
and what do they want us to,
Well,
oh,
because
by
they're trying to
inserting a new
regulate the
section, what
businesses,
do they wanna put
It
in?
says,
They
This
wanna put in
10-page
a whole
doc?
section, it's a large section.
Oh, that, okay.
this whole thing.
With the definitions
See,
and.
it's some
It's
sort
all-
of
that
home
whole-
share,
that whole-
limited share,
Definitions, restrictions.
You're creating a department
Short-term
in the building
rentals.
department, a whole
So it's kind of regulated.
agency for monitoring.
Without
Certain
some
things.
explanation or rationale.
To regulate short-term rentals.
I did get, comments from the building inspector.
Could we invite
On
the
this.
counselor to come to our next meeting and explain the rationale
That would
for
be
it,
good.
or perhaps somebody from the building department?
I
the
got
assessment
somebody
department?
I got the building inspector to write
I'm not
comments.
sure the inspector's the right person.
We can read them into the record because Dean's on the phone and he doesn't have the paper to hear it. I mean, to see it. Would you like me to read, Chair, would you like me to read Peter Niles' reaction to the petition?
Sure, thanks.
This is dated January 4th, and it comes from Peter Niles, Building Commissioner. This petition is basically allowing everyone to turn their houses into motels. Most of these houses have no protection for the temporary occupants such as is required in real motels, such as fire alarms, sprinklers, and safety windows. We have all seen the news where people rent these houses and have parties with hundreds of people showing up, underage drinking, vandalism, and many other crimes. A few people will benefit from, and the rest will see their property value drop. The other part of this is my department is already understaffed, and with only 2 building inspectors, myself and Bill, we do not have time for this, and we'll need another inspector to be hired.
My initial sentiment echoes.
I don't,
But there's something else behind it.
I would like to know what
You
problem
Yeah,
is,
can we
Request for more
invite Counselor
information.
Angelini
Yeah,
to a meeting?
or his representative or somebody.
Yes, I
How
can
many of
invite
these
him to the
short-term
meeting.
rentals exist? How many of these parties are taking place in Leominster? What is the problem that's out there that this is trying to address? Without understanding that, I don't know.
It's trying to control the market, but we don't know
Well, is
why,
it?
you know?
Are
We
we,
don't know.
are people
Well,
allowed to
and then
rent
the
their
other,
houses right now?
then
I
the
don't
other,
know.
That's what I don't know.
another issue
I'm sure as
is,
a B&B they could, right?
I don't know.
the other issue is adopting this, is this going to be in conflict somehow with our own zoning ordinance?
It's a great question.
So.
And I don't know
Like-
legally whether we can place all these restrictions. There's a lot of restrictions in here on how people use their own
Licensing
properties, so,
fees.
yeah, so.
There's all
Again,
kinds.
I
Well,
wanna
it's to
hear-
register businesses to make money,
I wanna.
make them register, you know?
So
Rentals.
this is
But-
an attempt to regulate short-term rentals in Leominster. Are there any? We don't know.
We don't know. How many?
There
Are
could be,
problems.
And they're not regulated right now.
Right.
Could be, but
So
have
it's-
there been
it's a
issues,
guardrail
have
around
there
it.
been? I don't know. So I would,
Let's invite
through the chair,
Counselor
request,
Angelini.
Okay, I can, put in I'm gonna tell the
Because-
city council that we've invited Councilor Angelini when the board wants more information, and
Yeah.
we'd like him to come to explain his petition in greater detail and answer questions of the board.
that'd be great.
Okay, can we make that into a vote, please, that we require more information
I
or
would
requesting?
that we request more information for the city council and
Yeah,
ask
we
Councilor
request
Angelini
Counselor
or
Angelini,
his
right,
representative
Yeah.
here at our next
He will-
meeting.
he'll come. and explain it. It's good.
Motion made by
Second.
Paul, second by Patrick, and beat you to it. Any other discussion? Okay, hearing none, I'll call for the vote.
All you Airbnbs do it now.
Well, they
Still
without
allow
that,
that.
that's, I mean, gee.
If there are,
Visit Leominster.
So, please come to the February 5th
Right.
meeting.
Can I have a roll call vote, please, on?
Patrick Perla,
Yes.
Paul Weiser,
Yes.
Sal Chaconi,
Yes.
John Souza, excuse, John Harriman, excuse, Steve
There's a
Valier,
lot of stuff to read.
Email you, yeah.
10 pages.
Jason Parre, Carver Torres.
Yes.
while we're still talking about information, is there a method of gathering information on exactly how many short-term rentals presently exist in Leominster, or if there are any issues with them? Is there a department?
There's
that should
nobody
have
that regulates it.
There will be once they require people to.
To register and,
I don't think we have that.
But those, they pay taxes on the rentals, right? So there has to be, Yeah,
Well, those are like boarding houses and stuff like that.
Well, if you look for
I mean,
Airbnb,
if you're renting, let's say I'm renting my father's house for, I'm leasing it for 6 months. Somebody's
You're
coming
doing
in for
it
the
under the
summer.
table and not telling anybody else.
That's what they do, yeah, but I mean, it doesn't mean it has to be regulated either. So we just want to
Okay,
know.
fair enough.
Are you drawing up a lease or are you just opening the
Right.
Airbnb app
That's right,
and putting someone in
that's right.
yourselves?
Because, I've been in a few this year, I'm sure.
I mean, if you're using an app.
Weren't regulated by anything, I don't know.
Yeah, you're gonna go here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, well, that's great.
I think TurboTax has a section on short-term rental use.
All right, we can
If
move on.
you fill the blanks, if you say yes.
Any other further discussion? Okay, we'll move to 8.0, Director's Report. 8.1, Planning and Development Director's Report for January 8th. 8.1, Consultant Engineering Services.
All right, I need the board to make a decision on this. In the last couple of months, we've needed outside engineering services, and you've had me gather 3 quotes from different firms and then settled on one, with the lowest amount to hire and to use for services. And, we have one that we know we like now, because we've used them 3 times, we're on the 3rd round using Vanessa and Associates. I can say their name, because we probably use them. I'd like to be able to go directly to Vanessa and Associates for peer review for traffic studies, rather than get 3 quotes, because I'm going to the same groups and getting quotes and then turning them down. And it's kind of asking a lot to keep getting to these people.
Yeah, but what's the, what are the rules around that?
I went to the,
Is it best value, is it low bid?
he does a good job and his price is reasonable. We've been happy with his work.
Understood, but somebody could protest that too, he's saying 3 people, right under procurement.
Well, I've gone
There's
to,
a letter in your packets from the purchasing agent
Yep.
who reviewed it.
I went to the purchasing agent and I asked if the board could do this and designate someone
As the preferred vendor.
as the preferred.
If someone we're
Right,
happy
so-
with, why
Yep.
not?
And it would be a lot less awkward for me to keep going, because I have people saying, well,
And the purchasing agent basically said that we could do that.
we can do that. He checked the rules, he went and did our check.
As long as it's under $10,000.
Yeah.
Oh,
And it's 5,500 has been the cost, and we haven't even used all of it, and he hasn't billed us for the entire amount because he didn't come.
So it's under 10,000.
Yeah, he has to be licensed. And they are.
So you don't have to, you don't have to, you don't.
I mean, I don't personally have a problem with that.
I don't either, if it's under 10,000, I
That's
just
the
wanna make
threshold.
sure that we're not.
And if at any time we're
open
unhappy with
bids
their
or
work,
open bids,
you
know?
can reconsider the decision and say, you know what, I'd like to look for other vendors.
So do you want a
You're
motion?
not like trapped in this.
Well, we're not identifying them as the preferred, the vendor, period. It's just, you have the ability to
Staff to
to
bill
just ask one vendor
for a quote,
and not 3, as long as the threshold is under 10,000.
yeah.
So do you need a motion,
I-
or you have the ability to do that?
I don't know this.
Am I talking about something differently, and Paul, I don't know if you could be helpful, because I remember this from Fitchburg State. Isn't there like there's a website, if it's like under, I think if it's under $10,000, you go to the website that has
For state.
approved.
For state,
They're all,
I don't think that applies.
That's not because this is municipalities instead of states, okay.
but it's the same idea.
And,
And
I
we
mean,
don't-
the state, state entities are actually restricted to that state, federal, they pay to be on it. The municipalities don't have that restriction,
Yeah,
so they're,
okay.
they're free use anyway, as far as I know.
Okay,
I mean, they've been great, they've been available to us, they've come back with the conditions right away.
My question simply is, if I'm reading this note from the purchasing agent, he seems to think you have this authority. So do you need a vote or an authorization, or can you just tell us you have the authority? That's how we'll handle it.
I'd probably be good to take a vote.
Because all we'll do next time a project comes up, we say, okay, we're doing a traffic study. And instead of saying, okay, I need to go get 3 quotes, we'll say, and we authorize the planning director to choose a firm and then the board will vote on it.
Right.
And that's what we do every time. That's what we do.
Maybe a consensus would be good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm good with it, and I'll make a motion if you want, I'm just not sure it's necessary.
See, it's recently risen to 10,000,
So your
so
intention
prior
is
to
for
that,
bring
probably
this-
had to.
To our
As an
awareness.
administrative protocol, I'd like to handle it this way. And I've got the blessing of the purchasing agent to do it that way if the board would allow.
Okay with me.
Okay.
You're the one that has to do it every time. There's no reason for you to have to.
I don't mind doing the work, I just don't like soliciting people
If
and then
it's-
telling them no.
Then we don't
After
get
making
shot.
them,
No,
they have to put a time, they put a lot of time and
Streamline.
effort
Yeah,
into
no, I
these.
agree.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, what about if it's, I hate to open up the can of worms, so I'm going to, what about when it's, do you have that issue when it's more than $10,000?
But if it's more than $10,000, I have to get 3 quotes.
Okay, but is it always the same, is it the same issue though?
It's always a peer review, but so far it's been 3 peer reviews for traffic studies and the quote has been 5,500
For each
each
one.
time. And it's been well under the 10,000.
Unless
Okay.
I'm missing something, I don't think it matters, because every time we request a study, we're gonna make one of the conditions that the planning director choose the,
Right.
or all we'll do with for less than 10,000 is say she can choose it rather than saying she has to solicit through bids.
She's looking for our blessing.
But each time we have to do it anyway, it's gonna be part of what it's gonna be a condition of the plan.
Well,
It's
yeah,
not
but
something that's gonna
still, yeah.
occur in the back.
I'm gonna make the vendor that we prefer do a quote, and if the amount is too high, then we're gonna
Sounds great,
scrap it and not get that.
It's gotta be under 10,000.
sounds great.
And I don't know when it went up to 10,000, it used to be 5,000, right? Did it prior to?
I don't know when the time frame is, the purchasing agent.
So if it was 5,000 before, we were always above the threshold.
Yeah.
So now that they've raised the threshold
Yeah.
to 10,000, you know, that's good. As long as it doesn't go past that,
Okay.
you get the authority, and otherwise you're gonna bring it to us.
So I have a consensus, and then when the next time this comes up, the board will give me orders anyway as
Yeah.
they would like it.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the other thing
We have to
is,
vote on that?
No, we'll just
No,
put it, we'll put it in the
communications,
minutes that we
right.
discussed it, and then when it comes up again, we'll authorize Elizabeth to
Yep.
do that.
the other easy, quick note is that I finished my AICD certification credits right before the end of the year, yay. That's hard to do, there's like 32 hours you have to do it.
Congratulations.
Stephanie had to put up with me closing my door and listening to webinars, and I got it done.
I'm
All
sure
right,
she'll-
excellent.
Congratulations, that's very good. That's excellent.
Well done.
All right, is there anything else?
Just
That
for
was
the
it
board's
for me.
information on Airbnb, there are 2 sites in Leominster.
Oh, very good.
One is a house, one is an apartment.
Okay.
Interesting. For what,
For what it's
for
worth.
the,
Completely unregulated stuff.
Wild West.
for the,
There's a house, it's beautiful.
oh, that's on West Street, yeah.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
Yeah, don't everyone, and we received an email
Mr.
today
Chacon.
from the planning director about taking our annual state ethics exam. Some of us have to take it more
Oh,
than
we
once.
did, we got an email on that too?
Yes,
I didn't see.
so just keep that in mind, it's the new year.
That's the other.
Thank you.
Okay, and do I have a motion? These two are planning their
Perhaps you
vacation.
can have our meetings.
Can you renew your motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion made and second to adjourn. All those in favor, roll call vote.
But it must say
Patrick
Mr.
Perla.
Chacon
Yes.
Paul Weiser,
on the,
Mr. Salvatore Quinn,
yes, thank you.
John Souza, excused,
So.
Tom Hergen,
that's a nice-
excused,
so much
Dean
fun.
Valier,
399.
Email here, yes.
Jason
It's
Parre,
1 year, 152.
yeah, to adjourn.
Yes.